Welcome to the Gen Z Show. This is the Generation Career Show. This is brought to you by Tache. For those who are not aware, so we have an office here in Ortigas, and at the same time, of course, the main office is in Cebu. To also say hi to our friends in FYE channel. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to broadcast today's episode. Doon po sa hindi nakakaalam, nung we had our show in Kumu, when FYE went solely in YouTube and in Facebook and all of their socials, we joined them. So that's why, for those who are not yet aware, welcome back to the FYE channel in here, in our show, in the Gen Z Show. For those who don't know today's episode, kasi this is something na very interesting for the reason that a lot of the employees today, or not even employees, even those who have their own businesses, at one point they get to find themselves lost when it comes to their career, when it comes to finding their purpose. And it's also the reason why we're having this episode, because we want the best person to talk about this. So, who's this best person? She's right in front of you, no other than Miss Sha Nacino. Welcome to the Gen Z Show.
Thank you, Floi, and thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm so excited to talk about our topic for today's show.
Of course. Sha, well, alam mo nung the last time that I get to talk to you through a interview format, it was when? 2012, I think.
Maybe.
Mga
it's
ganon.
2012.
So, sobrang tagal na. No? So, ngayon lang tayo ulit nagkita. But during that time, no? So, kasi nakita ko rin yung mismong story mo eh. You started from very humbling story until where you at right now. You've been recognized with a lot of international organizations. A lot of companies are hiring you for the reason that they know that they get to learn a lot from you, not only them, but also from their employees. So tell us more about your story, how it all started, how you were able to find your purpose.
Sure. So, do we have 1 hour?
Ay, ano nga pala, no?
So, I can share very briefly my story. So, I used to be an employee for a bank for 9 years. And in my first year as an employee, I got buried in credit card debts. And at that time, I wanted to quit my job. But I couldn't because, number one, I didn't know my purpose in life. I asked myself, if I quit, what will I do? Where will I go? I didn't know that. The number two reason was I had messy finances. And for me to be able to quit my job, I had to pay off my credit card debts first from that bank. So there's this burning desire for me to really know what do I really want to do with my life, and at the same time, what do I do with my messy finances? So that inspired me to read books on money management, attend seminars, seek mentors, and finally, after 3 years, I was able to zero out my debts.
Wow.
I was able to save and invest in the stock market, even if my salary did not increase dramatically.
Yeah.
And from there, I noticed that a lot of millennials, young professionals, are in the same boat I was in.
Yeah.
They had messy finances, and for example, if there's bonus, the first thing would be, what will I buy, or where will I travel, right? So I already see that, if this is the kind of lifestyle and money behavior that you're engaging in, most likely you will retire old and broke. So there's that burning desire for me to share what I learned about money management. But I realized that money was such a sensitive issue. I cannot just tell anyone, hey, kailangan mo magbayad ng utang, kailangan mo mag-save. Because here in the Philippines, it's quite a taboo topic to talk about money. So I had this burning desire to share what I learned, but no one was listening to me. In one of the seminars that I attended, the idea of writing a book came to mind.
Okay.
It was a whole day seminar, and the speaker said, if you want to spread a message and make money, you write a book, you record an album, and blah, 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 blah. So imagine it was a whole day seminar, but all I was hearing was, Sha, write a book, write a book. And I felt so uncomfortable because, Floi, I was not a writer.
Yeah.
I hated writing.
Yeah.
I was a math person. I was a numbers person. So I wanted to discard the idea of writing a book, but the calling was so strong. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would hear a voice telling me, Sha, write a book. So finally, after months of wrestling with God, whether I would do it or not, I finally heeded the call. And it took me 3 years to write my first book. And then after that, I wrote more books. Today, I've written 15.
Wow.
And
congratulations.
Thank you. After I wrote my first book, I got invited to speak by companies and organizations to speak on money management to their team members, because they realized that if team members have problems with money, they can't focus at work and it affects their productivity. So that's the reason why I gave those talks. So I kept on writing books, and then people started to ask me to teach them how to write books. So the invitations I got were, so someone from Hong Kong messaged me via Facebook and said, "Sha, can I give you a call? Emergency."
Yeah.
And I looked at that person. I didn't know that person.
Yeah.
We're not really friends. So I asked him, "What's the agenda, sir?" And then he said, "Can you teach me how to write a book?" So that's when I realized, wow, for some people, writing a book is an emergency. And a lot of people would tell me, "Sha, can I treat you to lunch or dinner? Can you teach me how to write a book?" And at that time, I was so introverted and shy. And my problem was, if I go out with you, have dinner with you, what if you get bored? What if I get bored? So that was my problem. And so that inspired me to create an online course on book writing, which I call the 90-Day Book Writing Challenge. Fast forward to when the pandemic happened. So as a speaker, a lot of my speaking engagements were canceled in the Philippines and abroad. And a lot of speakers reached out to me because their livelihood was gone because of the pandemic. Right? And they asked me, how can we pivot online? So that was the blessing, because I was so shy and introverted then. We've already positioned ourselves online as early as 2015. So when the pandemic hit and when I lost all my speaking engagements in person, we're still good because we were already positioned online.
Wow.
So those were the things that happened to me. And take a look at all I do. Like, I write books, I teach people how to write books, I give talks, I do podcasting. It seems like I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
Parang nakalito.
Yeah, how were you able to do it? The last time I interviewed you, it was your first book.
Yes.
And now you already have 15. And then doing podcasting, education type of seminars and all. But paano mo siya nagagawa?
So one thing is, I was very clear with my purpose. So even if it seems like I was doing a lot of things, everything was related to my purpose.
Okay.
So that is why I'm very passionate about this topic on purpose, because when companies and organizations invite me to give talks to their team members, I see that one of their top problems is employee disengagement. So employees are disengaged, and because of that, they affect also the more engaged ones.
Okay.
And because of that, the productivity suffers. And as a leader, you need to think about results, right? Bottom line. And if you cannot engage your team members to perform, ang laking buhat for the leaders.
I mean, it's cancerous when someone's toxic about his or her work. Kung gano'n yung mentality niya, maapektuhan din yung mga kasama niya sa work, which is that's just right.
That's so true.
So how will you help those people? I mean, the leaders, or even as an individuals, to find their purpose, or how they will start? What's their, kumbaga, first level?
First is to understand, why are they disengaged, diba? Most of the time, they are disengaged because they cannot find meaning in what they're doing. Like, I know that a lot of employees would go to work because they need to make money. And then sometimes, papasok na naman ako, ayoko pumasok, pero sige, papasok ako, bare minimum, wag lang ako mapatalsik sa work, ganon. And then, sa sweldo, ganyan. So, it's a very sad fact that your life is so valuable, right? Why would you endure work? Why not enjoy work? One way to address this is by knowing your purpose. Because if you know your purpose, even if your purpose is not directly aligned to what you're doing at work, you can still find meaning in what you're doing.
That's right.
So I'll give you an example. When I was still working in a bank, I already know my purpose. It's to communicate happiness, inspiration, and meaning through writing and speaking. My work was totally not related to my purpose. If I did not know my purpose, I would feel like a zombie every single day going to work just because I needed money. Yes, to pay the bills. Yet I would wake up on a Monday morning and I would cry, papasok na naman.
Diba? Yung magbibilang ka siya, Monday ngayon, Tuesday, ang tagal mag-Friday,
ang tagal mag-Friday. Tapos pag Sunday na, Monday bukas, ang bilis ng weekend, ganon, diba? But when I learned my purpose, I got excited to go to work. I was still doing the same work.
Okay.
But I got excited because now I can see how my work could help me fulfill my purpose. And then later on, I aligned my purpose to my work. So what I meant by that was, so this is my purpose, this is my gifting. How can I give value to my company using my purpose?
Okay.
So at that time, I was already writing books. Companies were inviting me to give talks to employees, etc. I talked to my boss and asked her, I give talks on money management to companies and organizations. Would you like me to give the same to our team? And he liked the idea. Every morning, let's say Tuesday morning, every week, there's a group of team members who would have a session with me. So I do that and it's so fun for me.
Yeah.
I don't get paid, but it's so fun for me. And I know I was giving value to my teammates and they were enlightened and empowered. And then later on, when I quit my job, my company invited me to give a talk and now they paid me a handsome amount. So I felt like, well, yes, I was giving value and at the same time, it was also giving me value because I felt so alive.
Yeah.
And it was a good practice.
So there's this one person, when she used to work on a graveyard shift, for her, it's such a burden for the reason that, again, just like what you said, no, parang na-realize na she was working for money. It ran for a couple of months until one time she just decided that, no, I have to quit. I have to find a better career for myself. So she was able to find a better career. So the work schedule is already on Australian time, so it's morning schedule. At the same time, she was given a voice to the company. So suddenly she was like giving her inputs in terms of the numbers person kasi to. She found her purpose. She found her gift at the same time as what you also said. And she's very happy today. So,
Nice.
and that person is also my wife. So, I want to say hi to my wife. Kaya
Hi to your
sobrang
wife.
nakakonect ako kasi tama yung sinabi mo eh. No? You just have to find your value and then find it to your company. So, if
Yes.
you think that it's dragging you, find a way on how you can give value to the company.
Yes, exactly. A lot of times, as employees, we think, what will I get from the company, right? Actually, what would be more fulfilling would be to ask yourself, what can I give my company? What value can I give my company? Because that is something within your control. If you're waiting, what can my company give me? You cannot control your company and now you can get frustrated because you have all these expectations. And the good thing is that when your mindset is that this company, I will treat it as my own company.
Yeah.
I will do my work well and I will give value. Walang masasayang because even if the company will not notice you, just in case hindi ka talaga nila manotice, you'll grow so big for that company and other companies will notice you. Or maybe you can do your own thing.
Yeah.
It may sound complicated, but it's very simple. There is a formula that I use to discover your purpose. Get a piece of paper and then divide it into 2 columns.
Okay.
So first column, write down the things that you love to do. So 1 to 10 things you love to do, eating, sleeping, lahat yan, susulat mo. Don't judge what you write.
Yeah.
And then on the other column, you ask yourself, what do I do best? So isusulat mo lahat siya. And then compare the 2 lists.
Okay.
Alin dun yung may parehong sagot.
Okay.
So that could be your unique core competency because that could be something that you love doing and something that you do best as well. So choose 2. And now the next question is, how can you use those 2 gifts, your unique core competencies, to give value to other people?
That's right. Yeah.
Money is a symbol of value.
That's right. Yeah.
You get paid based on the value you can give, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to make more money, if you want to earn more salary or make more money, the key question is, how can you give more value? Piggybacking on the story of your wife, where she now has a voice.
Yeah.
So if you're so clear about the value you can give your company, even if your company has this policy wherein every year the increase is only 5% or 10%, if you're so clear about the value you can deliver, and you know that by doing this, you are saving your company X amount of money every year, helping your company earn X amount of money every year, you can go to your boss and say, I would like to propose an increase in salary by this much, right? And then you can justify, with the work I do, I'm saving you this much. I'm only asking you a small percentage. And if your boss is a great boss, he would say, this makes sense.
Okay.
But I'm now an employer, and we had this event called the Global Authors Summit.
Okay.
And it was a huge event with 400 people, and we had speakers flying in to speak as well, flying in from different countries. My team member, who was my videographer, sent me a proposal proposing that he will be the stage director during that event. And he quoted an amount for that day.
Really? Okay.
Yes, so technically, he's my employee at that time. I didn't have to pay him. I saw it and I said, this makes sense. If I were another director to do this, I would pay the same amount.
Okay.
So I said, okay, approved.
Okay. Wow.
So there, you can actually do that. You can
Yeah.
be very creative.
So sometimes there are people that they just can't be vocal to their bosses. For them to find their purpose, maybe hindi lang naman sa company. Maybe
Yes.
they can also find it outside the company. Maybe they can have some extracurricular activities.
Right.
I mean, sometimes they will find it petty, but it helps. For example, you love talking. Di ba, siya, kasi we get to know each other then through one of our organization, which is Toastmasters.
Toastmasters.
Let's say, they get to meet and they get to share whatever they want to share for that week. There's something for you to look forward to, at least on a weekly basis.
Yes.
And it helps.
Yes.
At one point when I used to be part of the organization, it's also one thing na I look forward to. For me, parang ang tagal-tagal nung buong week kasi gusto ko na mangyari yung Saturday.
Nililook forward
Yeah, I
mo.
look forward ko yung Saturday. So,
Yeah.
I did not stay kasi there's something that is beyond our control. So, if hindi pa kaya for you to voice out, maybe they can also do some extracurricular things.
Yes.
They open themselves to other people.
Exactly. Because sometimes when you ask yourself, what do I do best? Baka hindi mo alam yung sagot. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Because that was how I discovered mine. So at that time, I just kept on serving and serving.
Okay.
So whenever you are asked to serve in whatever capacity, just say yes.
Yeah.
So at that
Okay.
time, Floi, I even tried photography.
Okay.
And nag-cover kami ng wedding ng friend ko. Yung mga
Okay,
ganon.
okay.
I joined the photography club. I really learned about photography. I was not able to use that as a profession. But when I do pre-prod meeting with photographers and
yeah.
videographers, I know what to ask. I know what to
Yeah.
look at for my events, for
Yeah.
me when I speak, etc. So, walang masasayang talaga. So, it's very important to really take time to know your purpose.
Yeah.
And then find ways to give value to your company. So, for example, maybe you're good at hosting events, right? You're good at hosting events, and maybe you have annual events with your company. So, you can also ask tell your boss, do you want me to host our next event? You don't need to pay me.
Yeah.
This is one value I can give the company, etc. The other thing, Floi, I think some people may be afraid to
Yeah.
voice out their ideas with their boss.
right.
In that case, it's really about psychological safety. So how safe do you feel to voice out your concerns with your boss? So if psychological safety is very low in the company, then the tendency for the employees is not to speak up at all.
Yeah.
The best way would be for the leader to create that atmosphere where people can freely speak up.
That's right.
The other thing for the team member is if you can create psychological safety within yourself, like if you learn how to love yourself, accept everything about you, the good and the bad parts, the uncomfortable feelings, etc., then you can give yourself that space as well to feel uncomfortable in talking to your boss. So two-way street siya.
Okay. So, because a lot of our viewers as well, ako dumating to sa akin midlife crisis, it happens, di ba? I mean,
Quarter life.
quarter life or midlife or yeah. So
Yes, quarter life, midlife.
yeah, di ba? I mean, especially let's say you turn 25 years old or you turn 30 years old or whatever. At one point, you get to question yourself, your career. Am I already there? How come someone who's a friend of mine is already like a boss of whatever company is earning so much, but I'm still here. I'm still. What can you tell them to those who are listening, especially the one in front of us in the camera? Pangiti-ngiti pa siya ngayon. So, yeah, what can you say?
Okay. So first is to be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself if you feel low and down because your former colleague or peer or friend is higher than you in terms of his or her career. It's okay. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. Sometimes kasi we tend to judge ourselves when we feel that. But, when you learn to really, really love yourself as you are, unconditionally, then you can say, oh, I feel this, I feel small, and it's okay. I will love myself for feeling small. And that's the first thing.
Wow.
When you learn to be kind to yourself, to accept that, yes, maybe there's a bit of envy, maybe there's a bit of jealousy, but I'm not a bad person. It's just what I feel. And I'm willing to embrace myself with all these emotions that I'm feeling. The other tendency is to judge ourselves right away,
Yeah,
to
that's right.
silence that feeling. But you know what? When you allow yourself to feel all your emotions, even the uncomfortable emotions, yung stronghold niya nawawala.
Yeah.
And you will
Agree.
realize, oh, it's not really envy that I'm feeling. It's not really jealousy that I'm feeling. Maybe I just want to be seen by myself. I just want myself to appreciate where I am now.
Yeah.
I may not be where I want to go yet, but I've gone a long way already.
That's right.
And I want to appreciate myself for standing up, for showing up, even when things were so difficult. So actually, if you really take a deeper look, it's not really jealousy or envy that you're feeling, or it's not really insecurity that you're feeling. It's just that you just want to be appreciated by the person you long for to appreciate you, and that is
Okay.
yourself.
Yeah.
So I learned this from Dr. Gay Hendricks. So
Okay.
his expertise is loving yourself. I think he's a psychologist, and he said something like, the thing that you are craving for the most from another person is actually what you're craving for the most from yourself.
Okay.
So if wives would say something like, I wish my husband would tell me I'm beautiful, actually
Yeah.
it is you wanting to hear that from yourself, that you're beautiful.
Okay.
For husbands, if you're maybe say, I wish my wife would tell me that I'm so handsome, it is you wanting to hear that from yourself. Because if you cannot tell that to yourself, no matter what other people will tell you, you cannot hear
Okay.
it. Laging may kulang. Yung kulang pala, sa'yo lang pala magagaling
Okay.
yan.
Love yourself more.
Yes,
diba?
love yourself more and love yourself first.
Yeah. They should also stop from comparing themselves from the achievements of other people. I think that's also one important factor. Eh.
Yes.
Kasi a lot of us, especially today, no, it's we're in the social media world. We get to have that tendency to, oh, how come this person is already that rich, he's just been doing this for some time, and yet he's so successful already. But you don't know, whatever he is today or she is today, that person had gone a long way, a lot of challenges, a lot of trials, or maybe isang face lang yun nung mukha na pinapakita niya sa ibang tao.
Yes.
Diba? So, I think the best way is that you should never ever compare the achievement of others to yours, to whatever or whoever you are today. Diba?
So very important to know your triggers, right? When you're on social media, may makikita kang post ng someone, maybe kakilala mo, maybe hindi mo kakilala, it's not trigger yung mga insecurities mo. One way to be kind to yourself is to know your triggers, and then kaya ko bang i-handle tong trigger na to? Do I want to keep looking at this trigger? So, if naapektuhan talaga yung mental health mo, yung peace of mind mo, get off social media muna. Mag-social media detox ka
That's
muna.
right.
Panoorin lang yung FYE.
Panoorin nyo muna tong episode.
You know what, Floi? I deactivated my personal Facebook and Instagram for personal reasons. I wanted to have more time for myself because sometimes I noticed that I would just scroll mindlessly. So I still have my page, Facebook page, and LinkedIn. I'm now more on LinkedIn. So kung dati, mga personal life ko, yung personal life ko, ang bilis ko mag-post. Oy, nag-dinner kami with friends, post. Nandito ako, IG stories. Ngayon, wala na akong ganon. And it's so freeing that you don't need to update the world on what's happening in your personal life. So, ngayon, I made a decision to keep my private life private. So, I will still post on my Facebook and LinkedIn, but more of, to give value to inspiring things with other people. So, very important to really know yourself, know your triggers, what would inspire you and things like that, and really serve yourself so you can serve others better.
Okay.
Love yourself so you can love others better.
Okay, going back, Sha. So, let's say I get to realize already that I need to find myself first. But every time that I try to get to that point, along the way, I get to still fail at something. So, ano yung mapapayo mo for those people who are trying to find themselves and just be happy on whatever things that they want to do in life, in their career?
Very practical advice would be to get a notebook, a nice notebook and pen. Take yourself out on a date. Maybe one afternoon, punta ka sa coffee shop or a favorite place of yours, and really write down, what are the things that would make me happy? What makes me feel so alive? What are the things that, if money were not an issue, what would I rather be doing? So write those things because it will give you clarity on what's really in your heart. And regarding let's say you're finding yourself and then you're trying new things and then you fail. So the key really here is to be kind to yourself, to be compassionate with yourself, and to give yourself room to make mistakes. Accept that mistakes will happen. So it's not like you have to be perfect, but you tell yourself, okay, I will try this, I will make mistakes, and yes, that's good. Mistakes will teach me lessons. In fact, the reason why I'm now a speaker is because I allowed myself to make mistakes. So a very brief story. When I was in college, I was muted because a professor humiliated me in front of
Okay.
everyone. So I was in my second year then, and I did not dare speak the entire
Okay.
college years. And then when I was in Toastmasters, I delivered my first ever speech, and I forgot everything that I wanted to say. I just cried. But the difference was I allowed myself to make those mistakes. It is okay to try things, and it's okay to fail. Because failures teach us a lot of lessons that success won't.
It's either you win or you learn something.
Yes.
Still encounter this kind of questions. I mean, at random, people will just message me, Floi, ganito yung problema ko. Kung titignan mo, parang, okay, this also happened to me. It's about time that we get to have this kind of discussion so that those who are trying to find themselves can have a gateway, a platform for them. What should be their first steps? And we're happy that you were able to enlighten us, to help us, to our viewers, of course.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And there's a guiding principle that I've been following ever since, and it is this. So serve first. So that came from Brother Bo Sanchez, and then I just tweaked it a bit. So my version would be serve first, have fun, and money will follow.
Wow. For those who are watching us right now, again, follow Miss Sha Nacino. So she has her website. We'll just put in our options in the links below so that you can follow her and of course learn more from her. And thank you so much, Miss Sha, for joining us.
You're welcome, Floi.
It's
Thank you
an
for having
honor.
me.
We'll see you in the next episode. Bye!